Hello. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, good afternoon, class.
Sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, let us begin our today's lesson. We began by taking our roll call. Humphrey, Ezra Lono, Ezra,
Present.
Mavi Krui.
Present, sir.
You can see that we are all in. Now, today's lesson, we are going to tackle a topic on distribution ignition system. And we are going to start. So, a distributed ignition system is a vital component in the functioning of internal combustion engines. It plays a crucial role in delivering high voltage electrical current to the spark plugs at the precise moment to ignite the air-fuel mixture within each cylinder. To better understand how a distributed ignition system operates, let's delve into the components and their functions. So in this slide, you can able to observe that what is a distributor, and I would like to ask Matthew to identify what he can see on the screen. Matthew?
Okay, I think I can see the spark plug.
Okay.
Yeah, and the spark plug wires.
Getonga? Okay, thank you. So we can say that the main components of the distributor, we start with looking at the distributor cap. The distributor cap is a plastic or metal cover located on top of the distributor housing. It contains a series of metal contact points, also known as terminals, which are connected to the ignition coil. The primary function of the distributor cap is to distribute the high voltage current from the coil to the individual spark plugs. Another component we are going to look is that we are going to look at the rotor. Ezra, can you read what a rotor is?
So a rotor is a rotating arm inside the distributor cap, and it is usually made of plastic or metal and is connected to the distributor shaft. So as the distributor spins, the rotor passes close to the distributor cap, thus allowing the high voltage current to jump from the rotor to the appropriate contact point. The rotor's main purpose is to determine the current to the correct spark plug wire corresponding to the firing order of the engine.
Okay, good. Next, we are going to look at the condenser. The condenser, also known as capacitor, is a small electronic component located within the distributor. Its primary function is to suppress arcing at the contact points inside the distributor cap. When the contact points open, the collapsing magnetic field in the ignition coil induces a voltage spike. The condenser absorbs this voltage spike, preventing damage to the contact points and ensuring a consistent and a reliable spark. I now call upon Ezra Lono to take us through the spark plug wires. Ezra Lono?
Okay, the spark plug wires connect the distributor cap to the individual spark plugs. These wires are insulated to prevent electric leakage and are designed to carry the high voltage current from the distributor cap to the spark plugs. The distributor ensures that the high voltage is sent to the correct spark plug at the precise moment to ignite the air-fuel mixture in the corresponding cylinder.
Okay, thank you. We go to our next slide. So as our next slide, so basically the what our class has entailed today, we have tried to describe what an ignition coil is and as well as its operation. So when we look at this slide, so you're able to identify that when you look at this slide, after identifying the common components of the distributor, you realize that this component is what we call the ignition coil. Inside the ignition coil, it contains the primary windings as well as the secondary windings. Then the function of this ignition coil, it acts as a step-up motor, meaning that it steps up the high voltage that is required in order to produce the high voltage that is required in the cylinder in order to ignite the fuel air mixture. So the ignition coil, or rather the high voltage, it is transferred from the ignition coil through a high tension load. Remember that it is carrying a high voltage, so it is carried out from the ignition coil to the spark plug through a high tension load. Again, in the distributor, we have said that we have what we call the condenser. The condenser is located inside the distributor here around this point. Around this point, it is where the arcing takes place. That is when the high voltage is released. So here is where there is called high arcing. So basically, that's how the operation of the distributor, how the distributors work. Remember that under here, the primary windings has less turns as compared to the secondary windings. The secondary windings have many turns as compared to the primary windings. Class, I wish to ask if there is any question. Any question? Okay, if it seems there is not any question, if there is none, I wish to end my lesson there until we meet the next lesson. Have a blessed evening.